numbers, and we have a 442 point surge for the Dow that vanished at the end of the trading session. So I'm going to look at those numbers. But I looked at what the heck, and it has what the heck has 112 and 672 and in the Jewish. So I read them in order of simple, English, and Jewish. So the simple is 112. The English is 672, and that is important because it's an inversion of a 726 number, which has to do with Revelations, and I'll get to that, I hope. I just learned it today on the Zachary K. Hubbard, so I have to kind of refresh my memory because I just learned that. And then the Jewish is 1148. What the heck is going on is 221, 1326, and 1450 in order. Now I just looked up stock market, and this is when I decided, okay, I guess I'm going to make a video because, you know, we've been watching the 618 and the 816 numbers, and stock market, the English gematria, and I left it up for you here. The English gematria of stock market is 816, and this is the number. This is the backward phi that we've been looking at. This is the Dylan Stormroof timestamp, the Georgia Guidestones. We might have seen a jam. We might have seen in an earlier video I talked about the 1012 number on one of the this photo that was shown by many news outlets. And when they do that, especially when they show it on many news outlets, you know that they put some careful numbers in there, and I know there's a lot more to that picture than I've even dug up myself. But here, this number really ties into some of these other codes that we've had, including the two skeletons. So we have there's some more things to look at here, but I wanted to go down and show you, and actually this is my first time looking at this myself. These numbers I think are important to go over, and I'm surprised I kind of didn't think of going over them yet. Mother Mary, because this adds into our whole idea about Isis, Marie, Ishtar, Inanna, the Mother Mary, and the Virgin Mary. Do you guys see this? Like, kind of, sorry I didn't clue this faster. And also Bride of Christ equals that, and that makes a lot of sense with Mary Magdalene and that whole tie-in. The Valley of Death, this is the Psalm 23, and there's 923 tie-ins in that psalm, not to mention, I mean, the 7-Eleven, which I still haven't done a video on, about the 7-Eleven convenience store sign that looks like the Valley of Death. Ancient of Days, alliteration, that's another decoding thing that I probably don't use enough. It's kind of, you have to sort of be firing on all cylinders, plus cylinders you didn't even know you had, to kind of like really clue in on all these things. Columbus Day. It's going to go down here, make sure we don't miss anything. I really want to look at the Snow White story again. I feel like if I was fluent in all of these fairy tales, I would have a bigger breadth on these symbols, including the apple and a lot of these other things that they were seeing, and we just don't have the fluency in the code yet. So this is kind of, this video is sort of learn along with me, because I'm not saying that I have this all figured out, but I feel like I have a lot of really astute and smart viewers, and even if you haven't really looked at this before, you might get a connection that really helps everybody. I think we all have a piece to the puzzle, and putting our heads together, we can, you know, we can sort some of this out. So if an idea pops into your mind, please let us know. We have the will of God. I feel like they're trying to tell us that, you know, the stock market crash and some of these things are the will of God, like, you know, natural disasters, a comet would be the will of God, in which I think they are not talking about an actual comet. I think they're talking about a fake comet, but they want you to think it's the will of God. And they're trying to tell you that in the numbers, because you may not realize it, but you are sensitive to these numbers. I have noticed, I've been actually, you might think that I'm kind of a gematria nerd, but I have been gematriaing statements that people say in our family, even if they're not exactly talking to each other, like, or even like one time I was thinking, I had just watched a video on labyrinth, and I was thinking about the word labyrinth, and my husband was in the kitchen and he was talking to the dog, and he said some kind of dog related statement. I can't remember what it was, but I put it right into the gematria counter, and it equaled labyrinth in the numbers. And then I started to know that we understand the numbers. even if we don't think we understand the numbers, we do. So if they are giving you an 816 code like stock market, you are actually getting the esoteric equivalent of all of these different concepts over here. You are understanding what they're saying, and you don't, you know, for example, it's human nature. Might just be human nature. I've noticed this between my kids. One of them will say something, the other one will say something back, even if it's a nonsense statement. They sometimes, more often than you can believe, will match geometrically. Well, I invented a new word right there, geometrically. All right, so you just want to be aware that you yourself, this is actually, these number frequencies are actually like a subliminal language, I think. And I think they're trying to put out the message that this comet is an act of God, and I don't think it is. I think it's fake. So we just want to be aware of what these codes are saying to us and how they might be influencing our feelings. And you might think that our feelings don't matter, but my theory about the quantum random frequency generator aspect of Earth would mean that yes, your feelings and your beliefs do matter, because you are collapsing quantum waves all around you. And this is why the Freemasons and the, you could call them the Zionists, you could call them the Jesuits, the Vatican, whoever's in charge, the mass media, they want to control how you collapse the wave. So they want you to think along in their thought tube that they are preparing for you. And that's the only explanation that I can come up with of why they go to so much trouble to have this really cohesive and complete thought tube where everyone is exposed to the same messages over and over again. All right, well, let me pause this while I get another phrase to show you guys. This is just kind of a learn along with me. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I just think that we got to dig here, so hold on. Okay, so back on this page, when they say something especially twice, and if you hear this in a movie, if you hear it twice, this happens a lot in J.K. Rowling early movies where they will, it's amazing how often they say the same thing twice. A character will just repeat it back. If you see things twice or in quotation marks, that is something that you need to look at. I'm going to do this whole phrase too, but it's because they said, what the heck is going on with the stock market? And here they say, oh, let me scroll down. There it goes. What the heck is going on with stocks? We need to take a look at that. So so here it is. What the heck is going on with stocks? So I wanted to show you this number. The way that I look at these numbers, I know that they overlap and they mirror these numbers. So this would be a 1010. And it would also be a 928. I don't know, so like if you circled these two, like if you did a Vesica Pisces, it would be a 928 or a 910. And so I just wanted to show you that date. Here we have a 22.8, and this is almost fitting into the 22.3 that we've come up with, but this is the number that kind of caught my eye, is 368, and this is 3 days more than a year, but because of the Colell rule, they are a little loose on what exactly a year is. It could be 366 or 365. So also I wanted to point out that this is the date. This is a reduction of the date, the August 24th. So I just wanted to show you that. Since these numbers are big, I don't really expect to find anything down here, but I'll just take a quick look. Nope. I don't like digging through those long statements. All right, I'm going to do another statement. I'll get back to you in a second. All right, well, just pretty quick. There's this number for some reason catches my eye, and I'm not sure what to make of it, actually. So, oh, there's a, I see it now. There's a, I don't know if you guys can see the 911 in here. There's the 9, and then there's the 5 and the 6 with the 11. So, I'm not sure. But here we have the date again, because it was at 8/24. And it's almost like they're saying +1. I don't know. I don't know, because it's the day after, right? So I just wanted to show you that real quick. All right, well, this is based off the last statement because more stock market craziness. And then we did stock market where I showed you that it has the 816 in it. So that is kind of a standalone code right there. So then I wanted to just take the more craziness as a standalone. So we do have a 911 right here. Just want to show you that. 911 is the Julian equivalent of the Gregorian 923. So that came up recently with the Kim Young. Oh gosh, what's his name? Why can't I get this guy's name? You know who I'm talking about. It was a recent video where he's standing by all the missing nuclear subs, and he's standing next to an airplane that has a 923 on it. This is the same thing. So when they put more craziness, let me come back here. When they put this up here on the top of, you know, a really big news outlet, or, you know, we can go all over the place and I could find codes in all of them. This is the same thing as Mr. Kim standing in front of an airplane that has a 923 on it. It's just, they're just hitting you over, it's just a drum beat. Date, date, date. And they might be trying to force you to collapse a quantum wave to the point where you're going to have a stock market crash on this day. You know, just because so many people are expecting craziness, that we would actually collapse that wave because we have finally given in to the drumbeat of it's God's will, it's in the Bible. You know, the Freemasons wrote the Bible. I was just, if you go back, go see Zachary K. Hubbard put up his 666 tribute video today, and it's all about 666, 144, and you should go subscribe to that channel. He's great. And anyway, he goes into a lot of detail about the Bible is Masonic, so it is predictive. It has tons of code in it. It's predictive. So if the Bible says something's going to happen and then it happens, they want you to think that's God's will. Well, you have to think, you have to take a step back and think, why do they want me to think this is God's will? They want you to think that so that you will accept it. Well, why do they want me to accept it? Why am I important? And that goes back to you collapse the quantum wave, and all of us together collapse the quantum wave. So you in particular don't collapse enough of the wave to worry them, but all of us together are much more powerful than all of them because there's way more of us than there are of them. So they are very meticulously like gardening this thought tube, and they want you to know, they want you to be stuck in the this is God's will and we all just bow to God's will. And but behind the curtain of God's will is a bunch of Freemasons who wrote the Bible. They edited it, okay? So you can go and listen to the Zachary K. Hubbard, and he talks all about the history of that and who that was and how you can tell that they put their numeric and gematria signatures on everything. And then you can start to question. So every time then you see scriptures, and I think some of these people out here on YouTube who are pounding the scripture and they're pounding it, they could be Freemasons because they're just whipping up the hysteria about Revelations. Well, we don't know who wrote Revelations, but we know for sure that it was edited by the Freemasons. We know for sure that the King James Bible was edited by Freemasons and the Gutenberg Bible. We know this for sure. It's not a question. And for sure we can connect the dots and see that they want us to think that Revelations is God's will and these things, and these guys are prophets, and you know, we all bow down to, you know, the predictions of the prophets and the Bible, but we need to yank that curtain back. We need to yank the curtain back and look at Oz and realize who wrote the King James Bible, who edited it. These are Masons. This is not God's will. They are leading you around by the nose, telling you this is not God's will. I'm not saying that there is not a God. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying that if there is a true God that he or she does or does not have a will. I'm not even addressing that. I'm just telling you we have a bunch of jokers who are pretending to steer God's will. And we have a giant amount of Catholics and Christians who are really brainwashed in this idea of God's will, and they're really brainwashed in the Bible. So this is not going to be fun for people to hear, but you should go listen to the Zachary K. Hubbard just for all the numbers and just to really educate yourself so that you have the talking points to possibly free someone from the idea of, oh, let's accept the comet because it's God's will. Let's accept the end times because it's God's will. I am not buying any of it anymore. If it has Masonic and Freemason fingerprints on it, it's in my maybe box. You know, I have a relationship with truth and with God and with love, and I don't need to bow down to a Masonic document to feel safe. So I just want to bring that to you. There's some really weird numbers here. Okay, so here's your 9/11. This is a 99. And then 165 turns out to be an important number because if you multiply it by 6, it's 990. But let's go back down here. Actually, first of all, let's look at the, oh my goodness gracious. So more craziness. Here we have, these are our headlines. It matches, the Jewish gematria matches with Darth Vader, the Lord's Prayer, Barry Soetoro. Raise your hand if you know who that is. I just worked on his birthday in a recent video, but I didn't say his name. Alright, that might be it. It gets really strange when you scroll down on those. Okay. This must mean something really important. I don't know what it means, but since it's at the top, it means a lot of people search it. Well, guess what? This just happens to match the United Nations. Not the 688. We're not on that number. We're on these numbers. The 165 and the 1990. It happens to match resurrection. The other thing that was interesting on this, at the very beginning of this video, I had the movie trailer, Percy Jackson, and I guess I asked my kids, and they're like, those are terrible movies, but I do want to see them because it looks like they're soaked with code. Well, they're talking about the resurrection of Kronos in there. And I think there might be something to that. And I want to look closer at that. Kronos, I did Kronos numbers, I did Israel numbers. Maybe I'll do like where I show you my Israel numbers because there's a lot of dates just in the word Israel. And then I'd like to show you my Quran numbers. I did what you call those things? A Vesica Pisces gematria of Quran, and it's not as weird as Israel, but it's weird enough, so we should take a look at it. The Sefer Yetzirah, this, that's an important word too, and this has to do, I think this is, I don't know enough about this to actually speak well on it, but I know this has to do with these pathways between the zodiac. Okay, 22, I've talked about 22 being the hand number and the car number, so this is the number of the slave. The Last Trumpet, just want to show you these because these are the messages that you're getting in the headlines. If you listen to the news and these things are audible, then you're getting these messages, you're still getting numbers. So I just wanted to show you those. Key of Solomon, Tree of Knowledge, Scottish Rite, Florida Primary, Denver Airport. So you can kind of see that there are some very, you know, there's some group of really important numbers, and they kind of lump a lot of what you would call more of the cliche headline type of phrases on those. All right, I'm going to look again at the headlines here and see if I find anything else. Okay, so I did insider trading. I mean, no one's shocked, right? Former JP Morgan analyst charged with insider trading, and no one is shocked. But let's look at the numbers. So I saw these 1-5s a lot in the Antioch Hatchet deal, and I have been trying to figure out, actually those were more of 155. Zach Hubbard says that these are Freemason numbers. So, and it would be, if you did this if this was a Vesica Pisces thing, it would be a 6-6. Here is the 9-6 I've been talking about, that this could be the same as 8-1-6, where you collapse the 8 and the 1 into the 9. And this date is, I believe, 13 days from yesterday, and then it's 9 days until 9/15, which is the end of jade helm, in which I believe they will have all of the elite into their bunkers by that time. And I'm not sure what they're planning. I'm not sure if they're going to, if anything's going to happen, but I think that's what these dates are about. This date also has to do with the Diana, Artemis, Mother Mary, has that connection because it's Diana's funeral. And then I have a video up where we go to Diana's burial place, and we see all the numbers and the connections to different headings and different distances where the numbers match up to this day. This is kind of an 11-8, which is what I'm calling the Nefertiti number. And I do need to learn more about this number, and I think that Zach does mention this number. I probably need to watch more of his videos because I probably would understand more what the 811 number is, but it is showing up a lot, and I was associating it with Nefertiti, which I think is also an Isis Marie, Ishtar, Inanna, Diana, Artemis type of tie-in. So let's look really quick at the Jewish Gematria tie-in, just for insider trading. Holy, Sirius, the hidden Gematria code, and then we'll zoom down here to the, here we go, Jesus Christ, Prince Arthur, Holy Spirit. These are just huge. You guys agree that these are really big associations. Jehovah's, I believe, different from Yahweh in the Bible. I believe those are Enki and Enlil. Jehovah's Enki, Yahweh is Enlil. Lord's Prayer, Jesus is Lord. So that's interesting, right? Lord of Hosts. This kind of goes back to my parasite concepts that I tell you guys having to do with cars. In the 22 number, that the number 22 is a sign for the human being who is basically a host for the parasite. And the parasite basically could be, I guess you could say it's the serpent or the beast. And it's also literally a parasite. You can look under the microscope and see it. Illuminatus. Revolution. Some people are talking about revolutions. Revelation date. Fifth dimension. A lot of people are talking about fifth dimension right now. Valentine's Day. It has to do with Lupercalia. Buffalo Calf Woman. I think this would be your Inanna Ishtar Divine Feminine tie-in. Although, I do tend to trust Native American wisdom more than others. However, they could also be infiltrated. So we just need to kind of look carefully and calmly at everything. We don't have to be afraid. We just have to calmly look at everything. The Rosy Cross, Mount Shasta, Raving Lunatic. Seems like we have some of those loose. Ishtar Rising. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but this seems to be really important numbers here, doesn't it? Moon in Virgo. We're about to go, no, we're about to have Sun in Virgo, actually. All right, I'm going to pause this again. Okay, so here I just took this. I just highlighted it and put it right in. 442 point Dow rally vanishes. Put it right in here. And I just want to show you guys that they are so good at this. Look at this as a 9 that way, and it's also an 11. And then here we have the 8-6 not only mirrored, but we do also have our 8-16, which I've been talking about. This is the, I don't want to repeat it, but it does help you remember it if I repeat it, but it's the 8-16, but it's also, if you take it backward, the 8-16 is the Georgia Guidestone number, and if you take it backwards, it's the 6-18, and that is the first 3 decimal points of phi. And those first 8 decimal points of phi, they remain the same through the square of phi. And I believe that has something to do with Philadelphia. So it's very interesting that this is here. Not only does it have to do with the date of 8/24, which the digital root is 6, and Not only that, but 86 has to do with, okay, if you 86 something, you kill it, and that's kind of what happened to the stock market. And it also, you know, has the association of 8 feet long, 6 feet deep, right? So I just want to show you guys, they are good at this. They are good at this. This is not a coincidence. So this could be, I don't know what to think about this number. I'm not seeing it. If somebody sees it, if somebody sees anything in this number, usually the Jewish gematria has golden nuggets in it. But sometimes they're hard to see, and you have to kind of get the hang of it. If someone sees something here, please tell me in the comments. All right, so the reason why I'm kind of going on with this is to learn more of like the lexicon. What are they saying? What are they pointing to? Trying to find the breadcrumbs of the numbers. What nearby date are they pointing to? Can we figure out what the message is here, besides that they decided to go ahead and let the market fall on purpose, because we're getting close to some time where they don't need the markets to work because they're all going to be underground. So anyway, oh sorry, I forgot to say, so let's do this. I put this in. Fear continues to rock the U.S. market, and we have 144,000 backwards. I mean 144. So this is referring to the Revelations number. And Zachary K. Hubbard went into good detail about this 144,000 in Revelations, and let me see if I can get a few notes that I had written down from watching his video. All right, well, from his notes, he said that if you sum the first 144 decimal points of pi, that equals 666. And then I also learned that in the Fibonacci series, 144 is not only the first Fibonacci number that reduces to 9, but it's the only number that is a square of its position because it's the 12th Fibonacci number. So those are just kind of things to think about. I don't have a good definition of why they use this as the number of the elect. One of the things that I feel like I've brought to the table was that our letter V is a symbol of the 144. It's a mirror where if you take a V and you put a vertical line through the V, that each side is 14.4 degrees. And so that's supposed to be a mirror of the 144,000. And it has to do, and I got that idea from the song L by Nat King Cole. L is for the way you look at me, because V is very, very extraordinary. And so it kind of confirmed it because that song has a lot of code in it too. All right. All right, let me pause it. All right, well, just while we're on this page, I want to show you the 8 in the 442. Oh, okay, well, let me highlight it. There's the 8 and the 6 right in that number. And then over here, I don't know if you can see my pointer, the 1 and the 9 and the 11. We have a 911 here, which also points to the date that we've been talking about, which is the same as 923. And they're talking about the last 6 trading days. Oh, good. Now it's going to let me highlight it. I want to grab this one. Hold on. All right, well, here again we have an 86. You see it? And here we have a 1311. But we also have, do you see the 86? And also here we also have the 816. Do you see it? There's the 8, and there's the 16. That's the Georgia Guidestone number. That's the Dillon Storm Roof. That's the two skeletons underneath the Hoover Dam. And it's also the date, the digital root date of yesterday, which was 8/24. Now this one I was like, oh man, we got so close to the 223 that was on this guy's. No, it was a 233, because the 223 would be the 322, which is the Skull and Bones number. But before we scroll down, I found some more things about 144,000. Time in Jewish gematria is 144,000. Easter Bunny is 100. I mean, not 44. It's 144. Easter Bunny is 144. Mark of the Beast is 144. And Yeah, that's what so I guess that's what I have so far about the 144 written down here. All right, let's scroll down and just take a quick look at the English and the simple gematria here. Oh, it looks like the numbers are too big to be helpful. I think if you take the time, those are helpful. It's just that you really have to plow through some things. All right, well, I'm going to sign off with this one. When you see something in quotation marks, that's a, there's another one. It's a good idea to put it in here and see what they're saying. So again, we have the 86, 86. And this, the 72 is, especially when it's multiplied, has another decimal point, has to do, it's just an important number having to do with the zodiac progression. Every 72 years that the sun moves another 1 degree through the zodiac. And then here I wanted to show you, scroll down and just show you these associations because I just think it's a good sign off. So extreme fear matches Illuminati, and it matches gematria in Greek and golden ratio, which is our phi. And Masonic logic and the truth and discovery and the architect and vocabulary. True will, we talked about will. The Holy Code, Archangel Michael, lucid dreaming, Kingdom of God, Rosh Hashanah, King William, Leviticus, dinosaurs, on and on, Heliopis. Just a real quick thing about will. A lot of people don't seem to examine this. If you love your child, if you put yourself in the role of the protective, parent slash, that's as close as we can get to thinking about a God role where we want to protect and nurture a child. You want a child to gain your wisdom for them to have their best advantage, right? But you do not want them to follow your will throughout their life. You don't want your child, if it's a boy or a girl, to meet someone and before they follow their own heart, what they think about what your will would be, or or they burn a bird or something to try to figure out what your will would be before they go out with somebody. It's absurd. It's absurd to think that any kind of loving entity would do anything more than just wish to share wisdom, to prevent heartache. I mean, are we going to have a truer and more compassionate heart than God? I just think that a lot of people don't ask themselves this. Would you want one of your children to worry about what your will was before they think about what's right for them to do? It's craziness. All right, thanks for listening, you guys. Hope you're having a good day. Talk to you soon.